Welcome, this is ASO TV News. I am Tina Oje Achu. Our top stories. FCT Minister's aide faults Senator Kingibe over ground rent remarks. House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review to meet with Nigerian Governors Forum. Flash flood claims 21 lives in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso wins African Central Bank Governor of the Year award. And now the news in detail. The Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Larry Olayinka, has criticized Senator Ireti Kingibe for her recent comments on the enforcement of ground rent payments in the FCT. Olayinka described the senator's remarks as an expression of bias against the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and called on her to adopt a more objective approach to public issues. Reacting to Senator Kingibe's opposition to the enforcement drive, Olayinka said her statements reflected a lack of understanding of the Land Use Act, particularly with regard to the legal obligations tied to land ownership in the FCT. He emphasized that land allocation is not unconditional, as beneficiaries are expected to meet obligations such as the annual payments of ground rent. Olayinka further accused the senator of seeking political advantage by misrepresenting legal facts. He stated that her views amounted to a misinterpretation of the law and described her position as ridiculously embarrassing for a serving lawmaker. According to him, the relevant sections of the Land Use Act empower the government to revoke land allocations for failure to meet conditions attached to certificate of occupancy. Citing Section 28, subsections A and B of the Act, Olayinka noted that a breach of any term in the certificate of occupancy, including the non-payment of ground rent, could lead to revocation. He questioned whether the senator was deliberately ignoring these legal provisions or simply choosing to politicize the matter because of personal grievances against the minister. He concluded by suggesting that if Senator Kingibe were the FCT minister, her stance would imply allowing landowners to default on their statutory obligations without consequence. He criticized her for what he described as a myopic attitude and urged her to focus on the legal merits of public policy rather than politicizing governance issues. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has inspected ongoing and completed projects across the FCT ahead of activities marking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second year in office. The inspection covered the Wasa Road project, the Kuba Interchange, and the Daki-Biu Road. Correspondent Usman Katun Umar reports.
As preparations heighten for the commemoration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 2 years in office, the FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike says infrastructural projects within the territory are progressing well and will be ready for commissioning. The minister, who inspected the Ossex 2 road project from Apo to Wasa, confirmed its completion and assured that streetlights initially excluded when the project was awarded over a decade ago will now be installed.
You remember that this job, that of Ossex 2 leading to Wasa, was not awarded by this administration. That was a job that was awarded by previous administration over 10 years ago. But the spirit and the continuity spirit that the President has, which he said we must complete all those projects. One of the time we went to visit, I asked this question, and he said, well, as at that time, it was not included. And I did direct that we must have street lights on that road. As I speak to you, CGT has submitted their quotation for the street light, even though it will not be part of the inauguration process. But what is important, that we are bent on providing street light to enable to improve on security in those areas. So go home and sleep with your 2 eyes closed that we're going to put street lights in that of Section 2.
At the Kubwa Interchange and Dakibiu Road, the minister expressed satisfaction with the quality of work and reiterated the administration's commitment to delivering impactful projects. Barrister Wike also praised President Tinubu's performance in the FCT, noting that the current level of development in Abuja is unprecedented.
The assessment, if you have to take, for example, from the FCT, where I superintend by his mandate, you know that Mr. President has done very, very well. Very, very well. It's unprecedented. And you know the problem I have in this country is that even if you don't like somebody as a person, but when he does the good thing, say, look, yes, I'm not in good terms with him, I don't like him. However, he's doing well, or he has done well. Opposition does not necessarily mean anything good he says bad. Mr. President has done tremendously well. And that's why you see every look and corner of this country, everybody said, look, given that opportunity again, in the next 2 years, 4 years, you'll see what is going to happen. So I am quite happy with the achievement Mr. President has recorded, particularly as it concerns the federal capital territory. It had never happened before.
On the lingering issue of primary school teachers' strike in the area councils, the minister appealed for swift action from the relevant stakeholders to bring teachers back to the classrooms. The FCT minister reaffirmed that all projects selected for commissioning are on track and will reflect the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Usman Khatun Umar, ASO Radio News.
The Constitutional Review Committee of the House of Representatives has set July 23, 2025 to meet with the Nigerian Governors Forum with the aim of presenting to them bills currently under consideration and seek their support for passage. Chairman of the committee, the Deputy Speaker of the House, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, disclosed this while unveiling a detailed timeline of activities at a meeting of the panel at the National Assembly, Abuja. He said the committee will also meet with the speakers of the 36 state houses of assembly in a joint retreat with Senate Constitution Review members to harmonize bills and ensure consistency across the country. Mr. Kalu also said the committee slated an engagement with media executives, including the Guild of Editors, Nigerian Union of Journalists, and Nigerian Broadcasters Association, the civil service organizations and diplomatic community, amongst others, to facilitate public discussions and education on constitutional issues, promoting transparency and accountability in the review process. Mr. Kalu also gave a timeline of the anticipated public and national hearings on the bills, as well as a meeting with the 18 registered political parties in the country, saying that the idea is to ultimately aggregate the views of Nigerians. He further stated that the House will hold a one-week plenary debate on the bills, while voting on them is expected to hold on October 14, 2025, just as transmission of the bills to the State Assembly is also expected to hold on October 30, 2025. A statement by Chief Press Secretary to the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Livinus Nwabu Giogu, said all meetings are part of the committee's effort to ensure the successful passage of key bills in the review by December 2025. The House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals have threatened to recommend revocation of mining licenses of companies operating quarries across the country for either operating illegally or failing to honor legislative summons. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Jonathan Gaza, issued the threat during an investigative hearing on activities of mining companies in Nigeria. He expressed displeasure that several quarry operators had refused to honor the committee's invitations, describing their actions as a flagrant disregard for the laws of the land. Mr. Gwebwi specifically ordered Arab contractors and Omatek to either present all relevant documents authorizing their quarry operations or shut down immediately, adding that Arab contractors were found to be operating an illegal quarry site without securing the required approvals from relevant authorities. He said an oversight visit by the committee to several quarry sites in the Federal Capital Territory exposed a deplorable state of affairs, particularly the failure of companies to fulfill their community development obligations. The lawmaker further warned that beyond recommending the suspension of operational licenses for defaulting firms, the committee may be compelled to push for the outright revocation of such licenses. The House of Representatives Committee on Basic Education and Examination Bodies has asked the West African Examinations Council to appear today, Friday, May 30th, and address concerns surrounding ongoing senior school certificate examination. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Buko Ofoji, issued a statement on Thursday following WAEC's failure to honor an earlier invitation to appear before the panel. According to the lawmaker, the committee had invited WAEC to provide explanations over widespread complaints and irregularities observed during the ongoing examinations. The committee's chairman recalled that the committee extended an invitation to WAEC on Tuesday, May 27, 2025, seeking clarification on various issues disrupting the conduct of the exams across the country. He expressed disappointment at WAEC's absence during the scheduled hearing, describing it as unacceptable given the scale of public outcry over the conduct of the exams. The lawmaker emphasized that the committee expects WAEC to appear before it on Friday, warning that failure to do so would compel the Legislative Committee to invoke the constitutional powers of the House to ensure compliance. The federal government says it will soon launch a registration portal for the proposed National Youth Summit. Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, who disclosed these on live television interaction program, said, though young Nigerians were eager to participate in the conference, nothing could be gained without proper planning. The minister also said that the implementation of the resolutions from the summit would be done in legislative and administrative ways. It would be recalled during Nigeria's 64th Independence Day anniversary, broadcast on October 1st, 2024, President Tinubu announced a 30-day confab for youths in the country to discuss and address challenges confronting them. He explained that the modalities of this confab and selection of delegates will be designed in close consultation with young people through their representatives. The president also said that the government would thoroughly consider and implement the recommendations and outcomes from the forum as part of his administration's effort to build a more inclusive, prosperous, and united Nigeria. The federal government has been urged to review the country's national security architecture by shifting focus from its urban-centric approach to a more inclusive strategy that prioritizes forest and park security, now hotspots for criminal and terrorist activities. This forms part of the recommendations at the 4th National Security Summit convened by the Nigerian Forest Security Service, which brought together stakeholders from across the country to address pressing security concerns. Daniel Obi reports.
With the theme Enhancing National Security in Nigeria's Forests, the role and intervention of the Nigerian Forest Security Service in combating insecurity, kidnapping, and illegal mining activities, the summit provided a forum for experts, including traditional leaders, to propose strategies to curb rising insecurity in Nigeria's ecological zones. The Commandant General of the NFSS, Dr. Joshua Adewale Osatimehin, reaffirmed the agency's readiness to protect the nation's forests. He stressed that the NFSS is equipped with the manpower, grassroots presence, and intelligence gathering capacity to act as effective first responders in the fight against terrorism and related crimes.
We are foresters.
we work within the forested region. Kamoku Forest, like this is the Birigwari, is almost like what you said, that's 2 of Lagos State. And when you look at the northwest, Kaduna is a pillar. Kaduna share boundary with about 4 or 5 states there. And some of these states also share border with external country, making it very easy for the miscreant to move across the border. If the communities are doing their best, the best must be done within the forest as well.
Traditional leaders, including the Tortiv, His Royal Majesty Professor James Oje Achu, advised the agency to uphold professionalism and remain apolitical regardless of external pressures.
So I want to assure you that we will support you. In any state you get, make sure you recognize and work with the traditional institution, and it will be well with you. A lot has been said by way of advice, because synergy, as was rightly said, brings energy. And if you synergize with the other security agencies, it's not a matter of superiority. Everybody has been assigned function. So we work closely with all the other security agencies. You will not have any problem.
The NFSS boss commended the Senate for passing the Forest Security Bill and appealed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to allow the agency form the core of the proposed National Forest Guards. According to him, the NFSS is well positioned both in training and capacity to meet the demands of safeguarding Nigeria's forest reserves. Daniel Obi, ASO Television News.
You are watching ASO Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, also on Star Times TV channel 127 and Free TV channel 507. We are also on the UHF band on channel 38. Stay with us.
We were warned about this marriage. Because we did not listen, the young maiden is dead.
Nana, come here. Hi. Why do you speak so freely with a stranger from Ajani?
We were just talking about offering Ojigijag a seat on the council.
The gods be praised. He has 2 wives. So why are you making it look like it is a big deal?
Thanks for staying with us. A devastating flash flood has claimed 21 lives and left more than 10 persons missing in Mokwa local government area of Niger State following a torrential downpour that struck overnight. According to a statement issued by the Acting Director General of the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Ibrahim Husseini, the disaster struck the communities of Tifin, Maza and Anguwan Hausawa in Mokwa town during heavy rainfall of high intensity that lasted for several hours. The floodwaters submerged and washed away over 50 residential houses along with their occupants, resulting in significant casualties and property loss. In response, NSEMA, in collaboration with the Mokwa Local Government Authority, local divers and courageous volunteers, launched immediate search and rescue operations to find survivors and recover bodies. As at the time of this report, 3 survivors, a woman and her 2 children, are receiving medical treatment for injuries and trauma at the Mokwa General Hospital. So far, 21 corpses have been recovered, while search and rescue efforts are ongoing to locate more than 10 persons still missing, Husseini said. SEMA had assured the public of continued effort to provide support and relief to the affected families and communities. The Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, has been named as the Central Bank Governor of the Year by the African Banker magazine at the 2025 African Banker Awards held in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. A press release by the bank disclosed the CBN boss was recognized for his bold and strategic leadership in steering monetary and regulatory reforms that have restored stability and confidence in Nigeria's financial system. The award committee commended the Central Bank of Nigeria under Cardoso for implementing key policy measures aimed at stabilizing the naira, improving transparency in the foreign exchange market, and re-establishing policy credibility. Represented at the event by the advisor to the CBN governor on stakeholder engagement and strategic communications, Dr. Nkiru Bolonwo, the statement disclosed that she was accompanied on stage by the bank's Director, Monetary Policy Department, Dr. Victor Obo, and the Director of the Banking Supervision Department, Dr. Olubukola Akinwumi, and a member of the bank's Monetary Policy Committee, Dr. Aloysius Uche. The annual event draws senior figures from government, banking, and development finance institutions across the continent to celebrate excellence in African finance. Following the recent two-day ministerial performance management retreat organized by the Federal Ministry of Finance, has taken a significant step towards driving economic growth and development with the signing of the 2025 performance contract by its directors and heads of units. This is made known in a statement signed by the Director, Information and Public Relations to the Ministry, Mr. Muhammad Manga. In her remarks, Permanent Secretary to the Ministry, Mrs. Lydia Shehu Jafia, emphasized that the 2025 performance contract signing is a renewed call to action for the Ministry's directors to drive Nigeria's economic growth and development. The Permanent Secretary noted that this initiative is in line with the vision of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, and the Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Doris Nkiruka Uzoka-Nite, to ensuring that the ministry remains Nigeria's #1 service delivery ministry. She explained that this would be achieved through proper management of the nation's finance in an open, transparent, accountable, and efficient manner that delivers on the country's development priorities in line with the renewed hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration. Mrs. Jafia urged the directors to ensure the realization of the ministry's mandate and cascade their responsibilities to their subordinates for proper succession planning. Also speaking, Permanent Secretary to the Ministry on Special Duties, Mr. Raymond Omenga, highlighted the importance of collaboration and teamwork in achieving the ministry's mandate as well as policy objectives of the federal government, and that collective effort is crucial in driving the government's vision. According to the statement, the signing ceremony signifies the ministry's commitment to achieving excellence and delivering results-driven performance, and that as drivers of Nigeria's economy, the directors' commitment to their duties will be instrumental in shaping the nation's development. Mauritania's former economy Minister Sidi Aouta was on Thursday elected to succeed Nigeria's Akiwumi Adesina as president of the African Development Bank and tackle the withdrawal of U.S. financing from the institution. Ta secured the prestigious post, winning 76.18% of vote. Zambian economics Samuel Monzele trailed well behind in second on 20.26%, with Senegal's Amadou Hat third on 3.55%. The winner had to secure both a majority of votes from all 81 members countries and a majority of votes from the 54 African nations who are part of the AFDB. Ta, who headed the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa for 10 years, secured 72.37% of African vote. In his speech for the AFDB leadership, he vowed to strengthen regional financial institutions, asset Africa's financial independence on global markets, use population growth as a development lever, and build climate change resistant infrastructure. The AFDB, founded in 1964, is one of the world's largest multilateral development banks and is funded by member subscriptions, loans raised on global market, as well as repayments and income from loans. And that's the news. But before we go, let's take a look at one of our major stories. The Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Larry Olayinka, has criticized Senator Ireti Kingibe for her recent comment on the enforcement of ground rent payment in the FCT. And that's the news. I am Tina Oje Achu. Many thanks for watching.